All right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. The face-off between the House of Representatives and Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, is taking a turn for the worse. The Speaker of the Green Chamber, Femi Gbajabiamila, has threatened to issue a warrant of arrest against Mr. Godwin Emefiele if he fails to appear before the House next week, Tuesday. Former Femi Gbajabiamila's threat is in response to another letter from the CBN intimating the House of yet another inability to honor its invitation. For some weeks now, the House of Representatives have issued several summons inviting Mr. Emefiele to explain the cashless policy introduced by the CBN, as well as to push for an extension of the January 31st deadline for the return of old Naira notes. Mr. Emefiele has failed to honor any of the invitation. The House was scheduled to proceed on a break for the election this week, but says it is extending it to Tuesday next week for the purpose of receiving the CBN governor for an interface on the raging currency swap debate. That's the crux of our discussion now. Joining us to make sense of some of these issues is a public affairs analyst, Bola Oba. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Always a pleasure to be on your side.
Great.
And,
now,
before you jet off,
yes,
because we have a Surulere boy in the house, tomorrow we are celebrating the Olu of Mushin.
Oh,
it's going to be
who's the Surulere boy?
Because we know we have a Surulere boy in the house. We are celebrating the Olu of Mushin.
Okay.
His 45th year of ascendancy to royalty and his 80th birthday.
Amazing.
We can then take it on. I'm customer.
Okay.
I got you below the chink there.
I don't know the Surulere.
All right, we'll get to know
Somebody
who he
grew
is.
up on Karimu Street. I'm not talking to anybody. Just.
All right. I hope the message has been passed anyway. All right. Now, let's get to this issue that Nigerians are talking about, really. One would say, if you look at the CBN governor and you look at the Speaker of the House of Reps, one would say, of course, these are people who can pick up their phones and call each other and say, hey, come, can we, reconcile some of these things and so on. Others will say it's not as easy as that because you're talking about institutions here, not just two individuals. But why is it so challenging and difficult, or seemingly, for the nationalists, for the House of Representatives and the Central Bank of Nigeria to be on the same page on this issue?
I am a sucker for respect for the rule of law. Fundamentally, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cloaks the National Assembly, the two chambers of National Assembly as an institution, cloaks that institution with the right to summon any Nigeria, anywhere in Nigeria, at any time.
Including the president.
Including the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to help them on any inquiry they may be undertaking. That is the constitutional order. We put that aside, number one. Number two, there is an extant CBN Act, which in itself is a promulgation or enactment of the National Assembly signed into law by a president then. And that law presupposes that the National Assembly has, within the context of the operations of banking and finance in Nigeria, determined that independence, as it is in almost all respectable countries of the world, United States of America, Canada, Germany, Australia, let's go too advanced. Let's go to countries of equal distance, from Egypt to Ghana. Because of the politicization of rates in the 70s and the galloping inflation it triggered, central bankers and people who should know agitated for the independence of the apex monetary authority, and that the politicians should be dealing with the fiscal mechanisms. So the Central Bank of Nigeria has a body of laws, a statute that protects its independence. Now, let me leave that. I've spoken to the Constitution, I've spoken to the statutory institutional order of operations of the Central Bank. Let me speak to the fact that, let me speak to the personality of Emefiele. Emefiele, in my very young life, I've never seen a Central Bank governor that has discredited that institution more than Emefiele.
How so?
Oh, it's very unfortunate. And it's my logic here, I really want a bit of finesse to go into it, because I want to separate the Constitution, the institution, and the personality. I've never had anywhere in the world that a sitting Central Bank governor would be privy to a disdainful order of some people getting together, touting him as a presidential aspirant in an election. It's preposterous, utterly preposterous. And you know what he does? He rubbishes the image, the monetary management and governance image of the country. It encourages lawlessness amongst those who function in that very powerful sector of the economy. Now, having separated the two, does the National Assembly, any of the two chambers, does any of the two chambers of the National Assembly has the right to summon the Central Bank governor? Yes. Even the Central Bank Act says the Central Bank governor must at least go and update the National Assembly twice in a year on activities of the Central Bank. It's in the extant law. Now, take that aside. Now, I said I would rather err on the side of the rule of law. What I have discovered in Nigeria, which I have seen to be a dangerous trend across virtually most liberal democracies, and which has been brought to a point of how does one put it, using very conservative words, which has been brought to a point of monetary crisis in Turkey, is the Erdoganistic predisposition of Nigeria's politicians, of our politicians, especially in the National Assembly, wanting to interlope, going beyond the restraint needed in the monetary sector of the economy to want to play to populism. It is dangerous. We see what is happening now in Turkey, where Turkey is now, in Turkey.
They formally changed their name.
They formally changed their name, and I tried to, because I grew up for the better part of my life.
It will take some time to
more
get
than 5
used to.
decades,
Yeah.
calling Turkey, Turkey.
But they feel that you want to eat them.
So I'm sitting here now thinking the National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, must be a bit circumspect in the way they conduct themselves, because populism, we have seen what monetary populism has done across the board. Let's then come to the facts. Mind the facts too. The governor of the Central Bank, when the redesign of the Naira notes was officially announced, looked into the cameras. Your cameras were there. Looked into the cameras, and he defined one of the objectives of the redesign to be an encouragement of a sort into cashlessness. which any reasonable human being should know Nigeria needs because of some inherent advantages based in cash. And he said, look, he looked into the cameras and he said he was going to make it frustrating for people to carry cash. So I'm sitting here now, listening to you whilst I was in your green room, thinking, in all the analysis I've had during the newspaper review, in all the analysis you guys are putting on the table, are you factoring in the fact that this guy defined currency asceticism, not asceticism into the objectives that he wanted to achieve? If you have defined that, and the mechanism is such that people will be so frustrated now that they will put all the old notes in the bank and learn to transit, as we historically transited from cowries to coins, coins to coins and notes. And a number of times in my own young life in Nigeria, we have changed the naira. And you know what? I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, Baba is not going to now. Oh, Baba, he had always told us that, you know what, he was going to go lean on us. And some of our untoward habits of carrying cash. And we know how corruption has been so foiled in Nigeria by the preponderance of carrying cash. And you know the beautiful part of this is that digitalia leaves footprints. When you do transactions electronically, you leave footprints. And like the Americans would always say, sorry, did my hand go in any direction? I was going to point at it. Like the Americans would say, if you really want to unravel anything, follow the money. Mm. It is a bit organically difficult to follow the money when you are doing cash. It is systemically easy to follow the money when you are acting. Now, let me come to another Sulere boy in the picture now. Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. You should be very circumspect, very, very careful, not to override the populism boat.
Yeah, but if he is representing people,
I know, sir,
and as it is, the feelers or the feedback he's getting from his constituents, which is just a microcosm of the entire Nigerians, you know, when
it's not even a microcosm.
Yeah,
he's the entire Nigeria.
Yeah, he's representing Nigeria symbolically.
Yeah.
Would he not be acting the way he's acting to say, because we will be going on recess now to go back to our constituents and educate them, and they are still saying that they cannot see the naira. What is the way forward on it? Wouldn't he have the right to ask the CBN that to get clarity in those areas?
The House of Representatives, especially that chamber, is, apart from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the most organically representative institution that epitomizes the sovereignty of the Nigerian electorate. I respect that. Indeed, many don't know that from whence we borrowed this constitution, from America, where we have borrowed this constitution, the House of Representatives, as even in the mother of parliaments, Westminster parliaments, the House of Commons, which is the equivalent of the House of is indeed more powerful organically than the upper chamber.
Yeah.
Am I making a point, sir?
You're right.
And within the context of that, look, the House of Representatives is actually the nano representation of every living elector in this country. And Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila is doing the right thing. But before I could finish the point I wanted to make, I don't know whether you have conspired with some people to take the words, but just apart now. He has to be very circumspect in view of the fact that we are in the silly season of electioneering. silly season of electioneering, in the backdrop of what Abeokuta does to his political principal and mentor, and the pronouncements he made in Abeokuta, I wouldn't know why Abeokuta has become a city of intrepidity, a city of intrepidity to, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I love it when it goes to Abeokuta, but you know what? Maybe, just maybe, following this thing of Yoruba mythology, many don't know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Egbaland. And Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò in Yoruba land means somebody who is intrepid, somebody who cannot be intimidated. You must confront. So when he goes to Abeokuta and he's eléyìí, and he's saying Emiloko, and he's saying this, some people are even pitching him, don't push me. But Gbajabiamila needs to be very careful, even in performing the very tricky and very finely defined role that he has to play to be the voice of the house, not to be seen to be chasing a partisan rabbit.
But this is very clear. The house says there's a problem with this currency. This currency's change. You say there is a currency swap, but the people are more swamped than they can see the swap. He says maybe the way it is going, we should postpone. Some members have said so. Emefiele says no dice. Now, he says there's a problem in the land. Nobody is seeing the new notes. Gentlemen, could you please come and let's discuss this thing with your bank MDs so that we can see if we can chart a way out of this. He gets the first invitation. He says it came late, I can't come. Okay, it's bureaucratic error. Next 24 hours, you say you are going to Dakar. Then you grow dark on us. We don't see you.
I know you are a master of the language, and you are a member of the Nigerian Dictionary of Literature. Our fellow, is it?
That's not the issue.
No, I'm following you. I'm following you.
You go to rather than you go dark on us because you have gone to Dakar. we agree.
Look at the porno.
We agree to that. But you have directors. You have a serious matter on ground. Those are very important. As a Speaker of the House of Representatives, as a human being, you will feel disdained. Too, as an institution, you will feel disdained as well. So why would you not come and do that? And then you think that you will just sit down and let one man put down the representative, as you said, though there's exaggeration saying that they represent the nano percentage of the Nigerian people and so on and so forth. They are a very treasured institution in a democracy. Why would he do that? That's the question. Why would you expect a Gbajabiamila not to push the envelope to the next level? Because you don't want the House of Representatives to collapse under the impunity of one man.
Thank you very much for the very logical question. I started out by defining or reiterating the constitutional preeminence of any of the two chambers of the National Assembly inviting any Nigerian or any resident person in Nigeria, not only Nigerians, in so much as you are resident on terra firma Nigeria, the National Assembly has the right to invite you on any inquiry that it is undertaking. So the logic of your question is solid in the constitutional definition, simplicity. However, we know that the letters of the law seldom save. Wisdom does. Now, that was why I moved beyond the constitutional order, and I also spoke to the fact that as it is, the National Assembly has ceded its sovereignty, the sovereignty imputed in it by the Nigerian electors. The electorate has ceded it to an act, and that act speaks to the independence of the institution. That's number two. I spoke about how, unfortunately, this central bank governor has been one of the reasons why this is becoming much of a scandalous, or much of a scandal. It shouldn't have been. I've spoken to that. I counseled, I was going in the direction of chipping in a word of counsel or so to the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives. And now to frontally, without confrontationally attacking the logic, the solidity of the question, I would say, was it not the same Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila who once said he was going to report some securocrats who were supposed to come to the House of Representatives to answer questions to answer oversight questions when they didn't come? He said in open parliament, plenary session, that he was going to report them to the president. Discretion should tell Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila that this is one other touchy issue, that without ridiculing that institution like he did the last time, saying he was going to report those chieftains of the security institutions to the president, on this, he could have himself and the president of the Senate could have sought another appointment to see the president and let the president know that Emefiele, rightfully so, should be made to comply with the law and not subject the National Assembly to ridicule. Indeed, let me shock the two of you. As somebody who follows the news, a couple of weeks ago, not more than 2 or 3, the president of the Senate at a forum spoke to the impotency of the National Assembly on the provision that we are even analyzing now, the right of the National Assembly to summon any Nigerian or anybody resident in Nigeria. The president of the Senate spoke to the impotency of that provision because he said they are not controlling any institution of coercion.
That's the point. Mm-hmm. That's the point.
And
that is not impotency. That is not impotency. No. That's part of the issue.
Hallelujah.
No. I don't agree with you.
That's part of the issue.
That is the issue. No. It is not about coercive power. That's what the Senate president was talking about. You don't have coercive power, but you have institutional invocations. And that means that you can invoke your rights as an institution. He didn't say, that's Gbajabiamila, didn't say he was going to arrest Emefiele, but he was going to yes, he may. We're going to
order the IG.
No. We're not going to order the IG. He was going to ask the IG. Okay. There are two things. Okay. There are two things. Just as I, as an individual, if you misbehave, I can ask the policeman to come and arrest you. I have the right to do that. That's what he was doing. I'm loving this. So he himself is following the decency. Even if the man, the CBN man, does not understand it. So it is not impotency in the sense that you cannot get it done. It's impotency in the sense that you do not, on your own, have coercive power because you are a lawmaker. You don't have coercive power.
Thank you very much.
Coercive power lies in the hand of the executive, but you can invoke it as of right.
At least I've gotten you to the mouth of the cul-de-sac. You are refusing.
No. Not in any cul-de-sac. You're trying to know your own garage. You're trying to make yourself feel important.
right, that's interesting.
But
That aside, go ahead.
The point is this. When you are a superfluous member of a board, say there is a board for TVC, and maybe because they just think for balance or whatever, put Bola Obadia, he does not quite have a role, but, we will tap from his wisdom, maybe his exposure and whatever, and they put you on a board, on that board. When issues are being discussed in that board, simple wisdom should tell you that those who have defined executive roles ultimately will have their way. You are like an advisor. Abi? Just like an advisor. In this instance, the National Assembly, as defined by the Nigerian Constitution, and given the inherent contradictions, the person who spoke here before I came on spoke to the organic travesty happening in Nigeria between the governors in cahoots with the attorney generals, state and federal, against constitutional order when an officer who ordinarily should be organically and operationally distinct from the governor or the president becoming like the private counsel of the personage. Am I making a point?
I'm trying to find out where you're going.
Where I'm going is that Femi Gbajabiamila should know that he could express his frustration, he could express his disappointment at what the governor of the central bank thus far has done. And like I said, this is the silly season of politics. He needs to know that as he's putting up the histrionics, the drama, there must be balance. It does not justify...
It did not. You know what he said? He said by the end of today, that was yesterday, if it does not, I may invoke the right to call the IGP to arrest him. But he didn't. Because he gave him window that the House was supposed to go on recess. And he said, gentlemen, I know this is election time, but this matter is still important. Because we are going back to our constituencies, they want to know what is happening to their money. Because by the time we go back to our constituencies, the deadline may hit, and there may be crisis in their hands. We don't have any explanations to give our people. So he said, please wait till next week, Tuesday, and meet again and see whether there can be a resolution. So he has given this man ample window for him to travel all the way from Dakar
from the darkness of Dakar.
From the darkness of Dakar to the light. Whether he will come to the light, and enlighten us about the way forward. So he's also playing a diplomatic hand here, saying, look, I want to summon this, but we still have time. So this man, you still have time to come. Now, you don't have excuse of going with the president or saying that the thing came too late. He's also playing to the public opinion, saying, listen, this is what we are doing with this issue. This is how we are doing it. It also plays well to the election season, saying that, look, we are trying to resolve this issue for the people, and we need the man who is in charge to come and explain to us or rub minds with us about how things should go. Because even as we are talking, the deposit banks are saying, well, we are not seeing the new money. You are talking about what they call it, cashless society. It's not cashless society we are going to have. We are moving towards it. We are not there. America is not there. The Britain is not there. Many people say, oh, cash. Even those in those economies. But you don't even have the cash to hold. And we have, not like England, not like the United States or Canada, any of those places. We have a predominantly illiterate society working in an informal economy which always needs cash. Not even in this society where even when you want to transfer money, or you want to use your POS, and then they say, no, the POS doesn't work. Can you pay with cash? Or maybe you've got to eat. The person like you now, you go to a restaurant, and you are eating your amala and ewedu and everything, and you want to satisfy yourself, and then you come with your card and say the thing not good. So you cannot live in this place today. After eating our food, you must pay this money, and you don't have cash. Eh? So we are not there yet.
I think I want to believe.
Yes.
I really want to believe that Emefiele will honor next Tuesday's invitation. If he does not honor next Tuesday's invitation, the president should, indeed, I was almost using the word must, tell him adios amigo, because that would have been a direct rubbishing of the constitutional order as clearly defined. I want to believe he will attend. I am only concerned that beyond the ostensible dramatics, there are meanings being read into this. And I was actually telling my wife, who is an APC chieftain in her own right, I tried to be apolitical as much as, and I was only telling my wife that somebody should let Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila know, because I know she has a channel one way or the other. He should know that the dramatics of the floor of the house should not be fully worn as a garment by him, because whatever he does, he is seen as a surrogate of somebody.
But that's why I gave window.
I'm not saying, look, at my age, I often tell a joke amongst my friends that if I had joined the Ogboni this thing in my 30s, I probably, if I made the Oluwo today, if I had done law and had gone on the bench early enough, my contemporaries are the chief justices of state. So I'm sitting there now saying there must be circumspection. Let's be very honest with ourselves. It's just unfortunate that this has to be, these ruminations are being done in open camera. But there must be circumspection, because whatever he does, people are trying well enough in the last 48 hours to pitch his principal and mentor against the president.
Yeah, but he's the man himself has said it, and I sang a song about Sonny's song recently.
I heard you.
Which I don't think you know. I don't think you can sing it. But that's another matter.
Yeah, it's too late. I know you are too late. So when I was punching her the other time, you see how I get easily vindicated. You see how I get easily vindicated. All right. Customer wa de ni won, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa, butter boy.
Okay. But the point still remains that we don't have fuel and we don't have the money. Somebody is responsible for either.
Yes.
And that is the issue that Asiwaju Tinubu was raising in Abeokuta, saying that, and even Professor Sage had to reinforce this. They're saying that, look, you can't have a candidate running and you have a situation where you can't have a candidate running on the platform of your party, and you can't have a situation where you are stymieing them in very crucial areas. They can't do business, they can't move, which means they cannot go about their routine glories.
I'm supposed to,
and that is that's why he was saying that whoever is responsible for this, you have to hear and make sure that they come to it. And he's saying that it is fifth columns within the party, within the government, and that we call saboteurs. And he says the other party, because the other parties rather than say this is an important issue that should be addressed, they're politicizing it.
And I'm looking you straight in the eyes and I'm thinking, given the politicking that happened in how Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as the candidate of the, are these facts strange? Are these facts supposed to be strange to any?
If they are not strange, they should not be silent about them. They be even stranger if you are quiet about them. If you don't yell. I
will anchor my cloak in the room of wisdom by saying, chill. You know this game. He knows this game.
Well, that's part of the game. Part of the game.
He knows the game, and he overmaneuvered those who thought they could leverage and abuse some institutional powers.
Mm-hmm.
And because
leverage them.
And because I know he knows the game, he has the right to say these are incongruities. Incongruities because you can't, like you rightly said, and others have, but when Lone Ranger is talking, Tonto, you know Tonto? Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila.
Yeah,
but the point is, he has spoken.
Yeah,
he has spoken.
Yeah,
it's your show.
Yeah, but in a situation like this, if we have to put it bare, now because of the thoughts that people will say, well, they know I am a Tinubu man. I'm referring to Femi Gbajabiamila now. So some certain things should
not be done.
Shouldn't be done. We're talking about the institutions here now. We're talking about Nigerians here now. Should it be sacrificed on the altar of the fact that people are going to see me or interpret my move as if I'm doing it for my candidate or my principal? Is that?
Fantastic question. One of the things that have, disturbed me so much in recent times about liberal democracy is the seeming sclerosis that plays out in liberal democracies these days. Sometimes look at what America has become now. The rabid partisan environment in America, the positions we had always known the Democratic Party to uphold. Suddenly, because of some partisan occurrences, the Republican Party is now espousing. Am I making a point? Sometimes in this game, be circumspect. Not so much, and look, like Radley said, and I must yield that point to him, that at least he's not saying, I will call this Inspector General and order your arrest. He's saying, we are giving you up to this number of days more for you to come in, but it should not be quoted too much after that. On Tuesday, I want to believe that guy should come, that guy will come, because if anybody amongst those who advise the president knows the importance of the gentleman going to engage the ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives, that person should know that the president, if need be, should put a call to Emefiele and tell him to go. Because it will be rubbishing the constitutional order. Indeed, it will be a major traducement of the Constitution. If Emefiele does not go, forget about the arrest.
The arrest is just, he was playing carrot and stick. The carrot and stick doesn't mean that you're going to win the stick.
Abuse
it's
of
like,
the
it's like a father always has a bulala, never uses it. My father never used Ebola. He had it at home for a long time. When we were
You see the
he
difference?
never used it one day. But you always knew it was there.
You see the difference? And they were using it regularly or not.
Can you imagine?
You see, that's the difference between two of us.
They were using it regularly or not.
Well, Shakespeare said, loyalty does make our faith folly. Sometimes when you are loyal, people think that your faith is misplaced, but it's not always so. But you need faith in order to have loyalty.
Like Fashola once said that on his confirmation,
may your loyalty not be tested.
may our loyalty.
But
loyalty is always tested.
Yeah.
From the day you are born, your loyalty is tested.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
But we have to remain circumspect. Like he
I know you guys will soon be kicking me out.
No, we are drawing the curtains here.
You are not
We're not kicking you. We can't kick you out.
Let me repeat it again. Tomorrow we are celebrating the Olu. That is our Oba emotion as a true Muslim boy. We are celebrating his 80th birthday.
Very good.
And his 45th year of ascendancy to royalty.
How do you say
We will come. We will come.
Eh?
We will come to
What
celebrate.
do you say then? Obaki Kikini. What happens to the head and what happened to the feet? I won't tell you the Yoruba.
No, I don't know. But my name is Oba. I don't know how you want to use me for the You could have gone in the right direction, but because you borrowed the language, you guys were speaking English in Surere.
Maybe because it was English. So
They were speaking English in Surere.
it's all right.
But I have to tell you that before
All right, gentlemen, we have to wrap it up here now. Thank you so much, Balaba, for
Always
your
a pleasure,
insight
sir.
every
Thank you for
time.
the
Thank you
privilege.
very much. Right.